Hello? Hello?
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Virginia City Council Chambers. This is a regularly scheduled City of Virginia Council meeting. We'll call this meeting to order. Today's date is Tuesday, November 22nd, 2022. The time is 5:30 p.m. Welcome to everybody who is in the audience this evening, those who are listening at home. Pam, would you please take the roll call?
Baraboo,
Present.
Friedlieb,
Here.
Paulson,
Present.
Beyondich,
Present.
Johnson,
Here.
Aaronzelli,
Here.
Cuffey.
Here. Would everyone please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, thank you. We'll move to item 4 on the agenda, which is a public forum. This is an opportunity for anyone from the general public to come and address the council. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak before the council this evening? Seeing none, we'll move to item number 5, the consent agenda. The following items will be enacted by one motion unless a councilor or a citizen of the City of Virginia requests that the item be considered separately. Item 5.1 is the approval and corrections of the minutes of the regular meeting that was held on November 9th, 2022, and the special meeting that was held November 15th, 2022. Item 5.2 is the adoption of Finance Resolution Number 22-022, the schedule of bills. Item 5.3, approve pay estimate number 7 to Lindsay Enterprises for the police repair project on the garage in the amount of $84,255.50. Item 5.4 is approved pay estimate number 14 to Casper Construction for the 2021 Street and Infrastructure Improvement Project in the amount of $244,892.17. Item 5.5, approve pay estimate number 1 to Magni Construction for the Phosphorus Improvement Project at the wastewater treatment plant in the amount of $215,273.72. And item 5.5, approve the exempt permit application for Whitetails Unlimited to conduct a raffle March 3rd, 2023 at the Virginia Elks Club. These are the consent agenda items today. Looking for council action.
I'll move the consent agenda.
Councilor Paulson moves to approve the consent agenda. Is there support?
Support.
To support. Support by Councilor Beyondich. Is there any further discussion? Councilor Beyondich.
And I believe it was at the Committee of the Whole meeting that it was asked that we have the documentation from inventory input at the Iron Trail Motors Event Center. Do you know if that has been, I went through this and looked for it. I didn't see or where I would find the number for the input of inventory for concessions and such.
Okay, that would fall under the finance resolution. So let's, do we have anything in, Sherry, that you can share?
I do not have anything at this time to share. I did express to Brian Silver, the Park and Rec Director, of the request, and he said he is working on it.
Okay, do you know when we could expect to have that
I
information?
can't speak for Brian, so, I mean, I'll let him know, obviously, that this was brought up.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. The consent agenda items has been moved and supported to approve. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item 6.6 is appearances. There's no one scheduled before the council to appear today. This, once again, is an opportunity for anyone from the general public to come and speak before the council. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to address the council this evening? Seeing none, we'll move to item 7, which is unfinished business. Item 7.1, the property located at 410 5th Street South. You have in your packet some information regarding this project and the process moving forward. You do have a report from our code official, Christina Nicola, with respect to the wire issue and some other inspection items. I hope that Mr. and Mrs. Kingsley have been provided that information. It is in the packet, so you could take a look at that. But Colleen, our city attorney, do you have any other information to share regarding the court date or any other information at 410 Fifth Street South?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I don't have anything new to share. The court date is still on for January 17th at 8:30 a.m. It's via Zoom. And Brian Lindsay didn't give me any other information of any other conversations or developments in the case, so I have nothing new to add.
Okay, thank you. Any counselor have any questions or comments regarding this matter? Or I see Mr. and Mrs. Kingsley are in the audience. Anything that you'd like to ask, please come forward. And hopefully we'll be able to address the issues that you have this evening.
Hi, you said that the meeting is a Zoom meeting, and is that something you have to receive an invite for, or will there be a sign-in if a person wants to attend
I
that?
think that's a public meeting, so I could certainly convey to you or convey to Britt the Zoom hearing information so you
I
can
would
log in.
appreciate that.
Yeah.
And no other word from their attorney about
Nothing
cooperation?
that I'm aware
or
of,
no word
no.
from him? And I'm sorry, I didn't get a chance to see the report. This is the first I had heard that they'd done a report on the property. I know that the wiring question is still hanging out there, but I don't know if there's a work order or what there is to take care of that.
Do you have a copy of the?
Yeah, we have a backup. This is, I'm sorry, I didn't get a chance to
No,
review it. This is
well-
the first I had heard that they had done one, so.
Yeah, we give an opportunity to take a look at that. If you want to come back up and speak, you're welcome to do so.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kingsley. Okay, while they're reviewing that, any questions, comments from the council? Councilor Johnson.
Thank you, Mayor. On page 41, the last paragraph refers to that the utilities inspected the property over a year ago, and it was signed off so the power could be turned back on. Does the city not communicate with the utilities when we have things like this going on, where there's some question as to whether or not it's habitable, and because that year time frame falls well within what we've been doing as we've been moving forward legally, and I guess I don't understand, an electrician signed off on it, but yet our building person, I guess I don't understand the time frame of how that could happen while we're in the middle of everything else that's going on.
There is a lot, there's legal regulations about power, control of power too. If there is nothing that does not prohibit the person from having their power turned on, they can have it turned on. So non-payment would be a reason you don't have to turn it on, life safety. Public Utilities said they inspected and it didn't find any reason why they couldn't turn it on.
Okay, thank you.
And to do the corrections he needed, he would have had to have the power on. The power is on. They're saying, that if you read the memo, it says in their Public Utilities did inspect for the power, so they turned the power back on. Oh, I completely understand, yes. Yep. Correct. Correct. That's why this is a court date, because he still hasn't done the work. So that is our next step in this process, is to go to court.
Okay, and anything else? Did you want to come forward? Anything else from Mrs. Kingsley? Anybody else from the council with respect to this particular issue? Councilor Beyondich.
Thank you. So you had you weren't aware of the documents that we have received in this council packet? No. Do we have their email address, because this is dated the 17th, that they should be made aware of?
The packet. Correct, it was in the packet.
So. Okay, so when we do get this documentation, instead of just having it put in the packet, could it be sent to them directly, specifically regarding that property?
You did receive the entire packet, correct?
What I'm
Pam?
asking for is when this comes out, when this comes to, when the city has this, can this, just this part, not necessarily the whole packet, be sent to them? This is correspondence relating to the property we've been dealing with.
And so you would prefer that that be sent separately? You requested the packet be sent to, correct?
Yeah, well, I get the agenda.
Right, the packet, so, Pam?
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, I'm sorry. I thought you were sent the information, otherwise I would have sent it to you. I thought it came from the engineering department. Because you had corresponded with Christina and you had sent me that email, so I thought this was also sent from her to you. Sorry.
So the request by Councilor Beyondich is that when this correspondence comes in and has directly affects an individual, a complainant, or someone who's involved in this process, like Mr. and Mrs. Kingsley are, that particular letter be forwarded ahead of the property, the packet itself.
Correct, and I don't know if that would be coming from the engineering department then. So if we could make sure that any correspondence relating to that property be sent to them separate outside of the packet. Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
We will have it, staff directed to the city clerk, which is the proper process, and she will disperse it to them.
Okay, thank you. Okay, any other issue with respect to this parcel of property and moving forward with the court date that's in January? Councilor Paulson.
Thank you, Mayor. I believe I had already made a motion a long time ago to have all correspondence directed to the Kingsleys. This shouldn't be an issue at all. And I'm not saying it's an issue that it got missed, but the departments need it to be communicated to them what the proper channel is to go to our city clerk and for our city clerk to send it out. But I made that motion a very long time ago, so I would appreciate the follow-through and making sure that that's handled. The other thing that I have a question on, it states on, I guess it would be page 42, it says an independent electrical inspector for the state of Minnesota found no life safety issue at this location. Is there a date of this inspection or a copy of this inspection from a Minnesota state inspector?
Well, they will have it up at the office. We'll certainly provide that to us if you wanted to see that.
I have not seen it, but I will find it and get it.
Well, I'm just,
Yeah.
we need to have this information in front of us, and I'm surprised it's not, there's no date, there's no what was found. And then there at the last paragraph, although a life safety violation could not be found by staff or state, this department will issue a correction order of the flood light fixture. After repair of the fixture, this matter will be closed. So, I mean, if we're collecting information on this property, we need to have all the information in front of us. So I would like that. I would like to receive that information. I would also like our city clerk to receive that information so that can be forwarded to the Kingsleys. And was that an inspection, the inspection that we requested, or was that an inspection that the public utilities conducted or requested a year ago?
Well, we requested it. We continue to request that issue. And
So was it a state inspector here based on the city of Virginia's request?
yes, it was actually, I think, in the front of that paragraph, you see Mayor Cuffey made the request, which I did. I asked them to do that. It was gone. To have somebody, an independent, somebody come from the state to come in, and they said they would do that, and they did that. I asked them if you would issue a report of that inspection, based on your inspection and based on the state's inspection, and forward that to the city council, which they've done, so.
So when you filled out as the complainant, we don't have that information either.
I didn't fill out a form.
Okay,
just
I
went out-
thought it said based on a complainant,
Yeah, I was following up
That-
on Mr. King's request and the city's council request to make sure that that was inspected because we hadn't had any information about that. So I wanted to make sure that we followed up on that we had that information for the Kingsleys.
I appreciate that. I think what I'm trying to understand is, I want to understand the timeline of when things are happening and what the information is that of these, or from these inspections that are taking place. Because the last update that we all had was that we weren't being allowed onto the property to do any inspection.
We did trespass.
Okay, so that's information that I think, I don't know, did you know that? I mean, that's what I'm saying. This is getting really frustrating. So, but I mean, we need the information so we can provide it and we can get a remedy, and that's what we're all trying to do. And if we don't have the information, it's very difficult to follow a timeline on a process. So that's all I'd like to say. Thank you.
Counselor Bearable.
Yeah, when the state inspector comes in, I'm going to give you a little clue on what happens, okay? Because I just had to have electrical stuff inspected for upgrades that I did. They come in at the request of whoever owns the property, not from the city, it's whoever owns the property they come in on. They cannot give that report out to other individuals without some type of legal action that's put against that property to the state inspector. They put a certification on your box that's in your house and they sign off on it that it's legal now. That's all they give you when they inspect your house. They don't give you anything else. I don't get a report when they do that, and I believe that's the process they use. They come in, inspect. It took 45 days before they actually got there to do mine, because they're so busy. But I've never seen a report in all the times I've had my electrical inspected. We need to look on that and see if they actually have if you have to make a request to get a formal inspection. 'Cause I don't know that. And I've had mine inspected a couple times with upgrades. That's all I've ever gotten is they put a sticker on your box.
Well, you know, this is, no, okay.
Process at all, but I think the individual homeowner, I don't care who it is or the property owner, has the right to not have that form sent all over the place, even though we may have requested it. I don't know how that process works legally.
Well, there was a concern on the part of the neighbor about a potential life safety issue with respect to the wire. So we contacted our utilities. We also made a request here to have that thing taken care of and have somebody inspected. And there was in this conversation about the state inspector, I simply followed up on that to make sure there was some information that was disseminated to the council and Mr. and Mrs. Kingsley about that being inspected. It was a life safety issue request. That's what we requested. I just followed up on that request to have that done. So it was the state inspector, not on the part of the homeowner, but on the part of the city with respect to life safety issue. That was the only reason for that. So if we're looking for a report, we can certainly ask our code official if they have something, correspondence from the state inspector, and pass that on to all of us and to Mr. and Mrs. Kingsley as well. It's a simple thing to do, and we can certainly do.
And I'm not faulting you, Larry, at all
no.
on this or the Kingsleys at all. It's just that if the request wasn't asked to forward this from the state or a request to give it to, and maybe our engineering department or our person that inspected and went along with this may have something in her file. And we don't know that at this point, but we certainly should follow through on this. You did absolutely what you should have done, Larry. I'm not faulting you, but from all inspections I've had over the years, they don't give you a written report. They just give you a seal on your box where all your switches are and stuff.
Well, if being a life safety issue, they may have some report in our code official's office that Councilor Paulson is requesting, and we should try to, if they do have a copy of some
Should
correspondence,
get it to the Kingsleys,
we should have that
absolutely.
disseminated to all of us. I think that was the simple request made by Councilor Paulson to ensure the timeline, how that's moving forward in the overall totality of the circumstances regarding the case that's going before the court in January. Counselor Paulson.
Thank you, Mayor. And you clarified that perfectly. And I also wanted to say I appreciate what you did because it is very frustrating. And so I didn't mean it to come across that I was,
Not at all.
not happy with how that happened. I just want it documented so we all have a track record of what has been happening. But I do appreciate that you are the complainant. Thank you.
We're just passing on the information. So, we're all frustrated by the process moving forward, and we're just trying to get through it and get a resolution here as quickly as we can. Mr. Kingsley?
Hi, just a quick thing. So you said that there was a correction order issued to fix that. Who follows through on that? Who is in charge of that work?
We do, the code official.
Code official hires an electrician or
Code official tells Mr. Tillman to fix it.
him to fix it? Okay. And it said in the report that I just read that the wires were not live when they tested it. That's because they didn't turn the light on inside the garage. If you flip the inside light on in the garage, that wire's live.
They wouldn't have broken and entered into the
Oh,
property.
you don't have to
but-
break in.
yeah.
It's wide open.
Yeah, but they did find that there was enough for a correction order, so they will make a correction order.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Kingsley. Okay, any other questions or comments regarding the property at 410 Fifth Street South? Okay, thank you. We'll move on to item 7.2, the clinic lease. I think we do have some information. I think there was some correspondence.
Yeah, we did finally get the report back from Encompass Engineering. It will be on the Committee of the Whole agenda on December 6th, I think, is our next Committee of the Whole meeting for us to discuss. It's a very lengthy report. I think everybody got it yesterday or today. Please take some time to review it. Sherry and I will get our numbers together for the investments we have and some options we might have with that. Nothing was shocking. Prices have gone up. We all knew prices have gone up. The stuff that needs to be fixed still needs to be fixed. In further discussion at the Committee of the Whole meeting.
Okay, so there was information disseminated to all of us, and we'll have a chance to review it, and we'll discuss it at our next Committee of the Whole meeting. Thank you. Any other questions, comments regarding the clinic lease and the information that was disseminated earlier? Seeing none, we'll move to item 7.3, the rental code ordinance. I think we're still in the process of finalizing it and eventually setting up some hearings and some public forums and other information. Is that correct, Britt?
That if the council chooses, planning and zoning is just about ready with the final draft. We've already done numerous public hearings. If the council wants to do more, we certainly can. But they met last night to finish the finalization, and they are right now reviewing the final changes that they believe, and they'll be coming forward with a recommendation.
So once planning and zoning comes forward with a final recommendation, we as an elected body and staff will review that and recommend any changes or make any adjustments or discuss that. And once we have agreed upon a finalized ordinance, rental code ordinance, we can certainly make a decision if we want to have input from the public, more info from the public before we move forward with implementing it. Okay, thank you. Anybody else with respect to the rental code ordinance? Okay. Councilor Paulson.
Real quick, thank you, Mayor. Have there been many modifications to the original draft prior to, I would say, the draft that the general public, when we did have the public hearings, was privy to? And would it, if it is different and quite a bit different, maybe we should have some public hearings so people can digest the new language?
Yeah. It sounds like there's been not a lot of the intent is still there. They've just made quite a few modifications.
Okay.
They really went through it with a fine-tooth comb, which I really appreciate them taking the bulk of that work and going through that process. But they're at the point that they feel they've got a good draft and they want to come forward. And I think that would be prudent to, even if we did a 30-day comment period or something along those lines where people can put their input in after having some time to read it and dissolve it a little bit too.
Thank you, Britt. Thank you, Councilor Paulson. Anything else? We're good? Okay. Okay, we'll move to item 8, discussion items. Item 8.1 is set negotiation committee for the International Association of Firefighters contract negotiations. As with the police negotiations, Britt and Sherry certainly lead the way with respect to the negotiating a contract, but the hiring policy allows up to 3 counselors to sit on this. Is that correct, Britt? Okay, and we had, I think, at the contract negotiations for the police, I think Counselor Freelieb, Counselor Johnson, and, I'm sorry?
Just did 2 because we were trying to not have an open meeting
Oh,
law
two, we had two.
violation.
So Counselor Freelieb and Counselor Johnson sat in on those. So, yeah, maybe the recommendation, so we don't have a quorum, we'll get 2 counselors. If we choose to do so, we don't have to have them, but we may have 2 counselors sitting on negotiations as well. So I'm looking for input from the council with respect to A, if you want to have counselors moving forward, and B, if so, looking for 2 volunteers to serve in that capacity on the negotiating team. Counselor Johnson.
Thank you, Mayor. I think having 2 counselors was a good precedent we set with the police department, and I think it really lends another level of credibility and speeds up the process a little bit, because it allows for that discussion to happen in real time. And that being said, I would volunteer again to sit on that committee if there is not other interest.
Okay, well, Counselor Johnson has put his name in the hat to sit in on contract negotiations for the International Association of Firefighters contract, I think it's Local 390. We may have a second counselor present or not. So is there any other counselor that would like to sit on contract negotiations moving forward?
Can I ask, have we had counselors negotiating contracts with the firefighting union in the past?
Britt?
We have.
Yes, we have. We've had both, yes, without, as Counselor Johnson mentioned, we did start a precedent with a local LELS union.
That was the first time then.
For a few years, for the last 3 contracts it was.
And we had adjusted the hiring policy to allow for that. So,
Well, I thought the team we had was advantageous to the settlement that we came about, so I would be willing to volunteer for that as well.
okay, Counselor Freely also has volunteered to serve on contract negotiations. Are there any other counselors that would be interested in doing so? Any other questions or comments before we make a motion to appoint Counselor Baraboo?
I'm not going to volunteer because of all my medical stuff going on, but I would like to see, before we actually bring it back to the full council, for us to get the synopsis of what they're going to be looking at and where they want to go with that committee, because that's been a piece missing for the rest of us counselors.
We did that with LELS also. We're going to, at the next committee of the whole, we're going to go into closed session to discuss what we're looking for in the contract as well. And then along the way, we came back.
All the counselors were invited
Yes.
to that one.
Yep.
Okay, I probably missed that with all the
You might have been at a
medical.
doctor appointment that one, yeah.
It might be with all the medical I'm going
Yeah.
through. Okay.
Okay, thank you. So looking for a motion to appoint Counselor Freelieb and Counselor Johnson as part of the negotiating team for contract negotiations with International Association of Firefighters Local 390.
Also move, Mayor.
Counselor Baraboo moves to approve and appoint Counselor Freelieb and Counselor Johnson to the negotiating committee. Is there support? Support by Counselor, well, there's 2 here. Any, meeny, miny, mo. Okay, Counselor Beyondich, is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion carries. Thank you. Item 8.2, approve the council appointment for the Arrowhead Regional Development Commission, ARDC, for a 3-year term beginning January 23, 2020, ending December 2026. I believe that Counselor Johnson currently serves on the ARD Commission. Counselor Johnson, would you like to continue to serve?
I would not, Mayor. Now that my work schedule is per day, 3 of those days fall on days where there's also other city commitments and as well as opportunity. If a person has time to, they do these via Zoom still, as well as in person, and they meet in Duluth. So if a person had a little bit more time and flexibility, it's a lot of listening and a lot of group voting. So, but it's very interesting, the stuff the ARDC is doing, and it's I went in, I think I've been on for 4 years, if that sounds about right. It's a great place to learn more about the region.
Okay, thank you. Would any counselor like to serve on the RDC Commission?
Mayor, I don't want to serve, but I did serve for 9 years on that commission.
Right.
They're 3-year terms. And if they go back to their old ways and don't do Zoom, you'll be going all over the county and all over the place to meetings. They meet everywhere from Aiken all the way up to other places, and they start at 9 in the morning and end at noon. So just for anybody that wants to serve, if they go back to their old format. So I don't know whether they will. Eventually, they'll probably go back to that because there's more input that way.
Okay, thank you, Counselor Bearable. So any counselor wants to serve? So I guess the mayor will appoint. I'll appoint myself because nobody else wants to serve. So I'd be willing to serve on the RDC.
So moved.
Commission. Okay, moved by Counselor Johnson and support by Counselor Beyondich. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Item 8.3 is adopt a resolution to hiring Charlize Carlson as a recreation assistant.
I'll move.
Moved by Counselor Paulson and supported by Counselor Beyondich. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item 8.4, we've done this before. Adopt the following assessment resolutions assessing these properties. Item 8, do we have to take these separately? We do. Item 8.4A, a resolution for a violation of blight and property maintenance code violations.
So moved.
Moved to approve by Counselor Johnson. Is there support? Support by Counselor Barnzelli. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item 8.4B, a resolution for a violation of a Clearwater discharge.
So moved.
Moved by Counselor Johnson, supported by Counselor Paulson. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item 8.4C, a resolution for assessments for the public utility low-interest loan conversions.
So moved.
Moved by Counselor Johnson and supported by Counselor Beyondich. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 8.4D, resolution for assessments for delinquent public utility bills.
So moved.
Moved by Counselor Johnson, supported by Counselor Barnzelli. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, item 8.5, approve the 2023 liquor licenses and Sunday licenses. Item 8.5A, Alan Burton, doing business at Riders on Main, no Sunday license. You can do them all at once, do we have to do them individually, Pam? Okay, thank you. Item 8.5B, Martini Incorporated, doing business as Tommy's Rainy Lake Saloon and Deli. Item 8.5C, Snow Avalanche Incorporated, doing business as La Cocina and Cantina, no Sunday liquor license. Item 8.5D, Lozoya LLC, doing business as Casadores Restaurant. Item E, Flamers Bar, or Flamers Incorporated, doing business as Flamers. Item F, Grandma's Virginia Incorporated, doing business as Grandma's Saloon and Grill. Item 8.5G, Peterson Properties Virginia Incorporated, doing business as Poppers. 8.5H, K-Core Incorporated, doing business as Mel's Sports Page Bar and Snickers Pizza. And those are the items for the on sale or the liquor licenses and Sunday liquor license. Looking for approval from item 8.5A through 8.5H.
So moved.
Moved by Counselor Freely, been supported by Counselor Johnson. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. approve the following 2023 off-sale licenses. A, Renda Incorporated doing business as Rocket Liquor. B, Super One Liquor LLC doing business as Super One Liquor. And item C, K-Core Incorporated doing business as Mel Sports Page Bar. These are the 2023 off-sale licenses.
Should they be 23? I will move the 23 off-sale licenses.
Yes, move the 2023 off-sale licenses. Is there support? Support by Counselor Freely. Further discussion? That correction of 2023. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion carries. And the remaining of these will also be corrected to reflect 2023 instead of 2022. Approve the 2023 club licenses. A, Northern Club Incorporated doing business as a Northern Club. B, American Legion 239 doing business as Pratt Volden Post. And C, the BPOE Elks Lodge number 1003 doing business as the Virginia Elks Club. Moved by Counselor Johnson. Is there support? Support by Counselor Counselor Beyond, excuse me. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Approve the 2023 3.2 licenses. A, Holiday/Corman LLC doing business as the Holiday Station Store number 41. B, IYS Ventures LLC doing business at iMart stores. Item C, Miners Incorporated doing business as Super One Foods North. And item D, Miners Incorporated doing business as Super One Foods South.
Moved.
Well, moved by Counselor Freely, supported by Counselor Beyondich. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. You have, was passed out earlier today, just prior to the council meeting, a resolution before you dated November 22nd, 2022. It's a resolution authorizing the submission of an application for a community development block grant for the City of Virginia Sewer Lining Improvement Project, which is along Second Avenue. There, you can see on your map that it's collapsing and we need it repaired, and so we're applying for the CBDG for some grant money, and there's a resolution in your packet under 8.6 looking for approval to adopt this resolution to apply for a community development block grant for this project.
So moved.
Moved by Counselor Beyondich. Is there support? Support by Counselor Baraboo. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. We'll move to item 9, committee reports. Item 9.1, the Committee of the Whole that was held on November 15th, 2022. We'll turn this portion of our agenda over to our City Administrator, Britt C. Bennis. Britt?
Thank you. At the November 15th Committee of the Whole meeting, Pat Wirtz from Cross Anderson was there to give an update on the Armstrong Motors Event Center and our final project completion. We are very close to getting to the end and getting our certificate of occupancy. Mr. Mayor Cuffey discussed specific camping areas in the city. Attorney Lindsay noted that the ordinance that was drafted could be updated to add an addendum in the ordinance for verbiage stating except where designated in the city. Brian Silber noted that item E and F were added in so that camping would not be allowed near trails or within 100 feet of a residential or private property. With those changes, the City Council did move forward the adoption of the City Code Chapter 10 by creating Section 10.18 entitled Camping on Public Property Prohibited for this meeting for the first reading.
I'll move the first reading.
Counselor Paulson moves to approve the first reading. Is there support?
Support.
Support by Counselor Johnson. Is there any further discussion? First, Counselor Baraboo.
I just have a question, Britt, on this change. Now, does this prohibit us if we decide to build an official camping site on public property, the way it's
At all.
stated?
There is a clause in there that says that camping can only be allowed where city designates it to be.
Oh, okay, then I'm fine with that.
Okay, thank you. Moved and supported. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
It's also moved and supported to move forward the adoption of City Code Chapter 2, creating Section 2.58 entitled Regulation as to Parklands to this meeting for the first reading.
Move the first reading.
Counselor Johnson moves to approve the first reading. Is there support?
I'll support, Mayor.
Support by Counselor Bearable. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Mr. Brian Silber was present to discuss a request from the Wolverine Blue Line Club for their contract regarding the dryland training room to be amended to allow for rental of the facility with similar rates to what the Rock Ridge Youth Hockey Association receives. It was suggested that Brian bring forward the youth hockey contract and so that the council may discuss it further. It was moved and supported to approve Brian to begin discussion from rentals with the Wolverine Blue Line Club, provided that the contract information is presented to the city council. And Mr. Silber did send an email to the city council of those rates that is paid by Rock Ridge Youth Hockey.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. It was moved and supported to authorize the world's largest floating balloon to attend the 2023 Minnesota State Fair with the cost for transport to be covered by the MPCA.
So moved.
Move to approve by Counselor Johnson and supported by Counselor Barnzelli. Further discussion, Counselor Paulson.
Thank you. I have a discussion item for the previous item. I'm sorry, but after we're done, if I could address that.
Well, let's move back then. Let's hold this other in abeyance. Did you want to talk about the room rentals for the Blue Line Club? Is that what
I received some correspondence from, I believe, a representative of the Blue Line Club. And they are, I don't know if a date was the 29th they were looking at. And I know Brian had sent us those rates that mirrored the youth hockey. I don't know if if the council will be approving them, but I'm wondering if the council would approve a one-time for that. It's a spaghetti feed for the team. I believe it's either the 28th or the 29th. And we probably wouldn't have a discussion prior to that. So I was just wondering if we would consider approving the rate at the $25 for the spaghetti feed night.
Okay. Well, let's hold that in abeyance until we vote on this, and then we'll move back to your issue there. So the authorization to the world's floating balloon to attend the 2023 State Fair with costs transported to be covered by the MPCA. That has been moved and supported. Further discussion? Hearing and seeing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Let's go back to that issue that you had, Councilor Paulson, if you'd like to make a motion.
I'd like to make a motion that if the rest of the council is okay, that we authorize the Blue Line Club for their spaghetti feed coming up. I'm not positive if it's November 28th or 29th, to include that room rental for $25 prior to us actually having the discussion to change the rates and amend the contract.
Okay, thank you. And it was for this particular event only, so, okay. That's the motion by Councilor Paulson and the support by Councilor Johnson. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Item 9.1E, approve the request to close the Virginia Public Library on Monday, December 12, 2022, to complete moving books and shelving and other administrative duties.
So moved.
Move to approve by Councilor Beyondich. Is there support? Support by? Okay, whoever. Support by Councilor Baraboo. Any further discussion? Anything that you'd like to talk about this particular item, Jody? Our library director is present this evening. Okay, thank you. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. 9.1F, allow city staff to set a working session in December to discuss the 2023 city meeting structure.
So moved.
Move to approve by Councilor Johnson. Is there support? Support by Councilor Barnzelli. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item 9.1G allows staff to schedule an insurance committee meeting sometime, some future time.
So moved.
Moved to approve by Counselor Johnson and supported by Counselor Freely. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion carries. Item 9.1H, adopt a resolution for the 11th annual Stuff the Ambulance on November 25th and 26th, 2022, from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. at the McDonald's in Virginia.
So moved.
Moved by Counselor Johnson, supported by Counselor Beyondich. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion carries. Item 9.1I, adopt a resolution for the professional services agreement for the 2023 Street and Infrastructure Improvement Project in the amount of $137,800.
Also move, Mayor.
Councilor Bearable moves to approve. Is there support? Support by Counselor Beyondich. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion carries. And we're on last one, item 9.1J. I'm on a roll. Okay, call me butter. Okay, direct staff to bring forward solutions for sponsorships of private businesses at the event center, Iron Tower Motors Event Center, and revisit the contract as a whole internally by the council.
So moved.
Moved by Counselor Johnson, supported by Counselor
Really,
Freely. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Move to item 10, Commission Liaison Reports. Is there any city council that wants to bring Commission Liaison report this evening? Seeing none, we'll move to item 11, Department Head Reports. We'll move from left to right. Britt, anything from the department heads that comes to mind? Okay, thank you. Colleen, anything from our city attorney?
Nothing tonight.
Nothing further? Thank you. Pam? Nothing from our city clerk? Pam? How about our finance HR director, Sherry Erickson?
Yes, we had a Moody's bond rating call on Monday, so we'll see where we sit.
And that
But it
bond
was for
rating
an
call
upgrade.
with who?
Moody's.
Moody's, okay.
And then as far as the insurance committee, if I could get an agenda so I can put that together.
I just want to kind of give you a backup what Sherry, Moody's is a rating company that gives us our credit score, like a city would have a credit score like a person would. We have a credit rating, and so this was brought on by a statutory change, not by anything we did, so now they have to re-rate every single entity again. So they called us and asked us some information, and it seemed to went pleasantly well, so knock on wood, hopefully we're doing okay.
I'm sure we will, but it's a shocker that it becomes a statutory requirement. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Sherry.
Larry, I've got a question on that.
Yeah,
Does
go
it
ahead,
have to
Counselor.
be Moody's or can it be S&P?
It was Moody's because we still have a bond that had Moody's rating. So we are still monitored by them for so many years, I can't remember how many years it is, why the bond is still in place.
So once it's set in place, so how can you come back? They can't change the rate.
No, but it just changed, they can change their rating. It just, they do monitoring every so
Well, they
many
can change
years.
their rate, but they can't change the bond rate.
Correct, they can't change the dollar amount or the interest rate, but
Mayor?
Yes, thank you. Sherry?
Does do is if we get an upgrade, it gives us a better interest rate for future bonds.
Well, one can only hope. We always hope. Okay, thank you. Any other department head reports? We have Jody Grabanowski, our library director, once again studiously coming to every council meeting to give us an update. Thanks for coming once again. Good evening.
Good evening. I just have some exciting events coming up. So next week on Wednesday at 2:30, we have Merry Melodies, and it is the Quad City Fiddlers at 2:30 in the afternoon. So come join us. We're hoping also to have some hot chocolate and some snacks. So yeah, that'll be fun. We have two more story times for 0 to 5. So Friday, December 2nd and Friday, December 9th, both at 10:30. I've seen some of the stuff that they're going to do. It should be fun. something to do with letters and bowling. I'm not exactly sure how that fits in the story time, but that was delivered this week. And then we also have one more in our family law series, and that one is on December 13th at noon. And if you have any questions about forms that you need to fill out or where to find those forms, we have Jerry Sinquist will be there to answer those questions.
Well, fantastic. Thank you, Jody. Any questions for Jody? Thank you very much. A lot of exciting events at the library, as always. Okay, thank you. Okay, we'll move to item number 12 on the agenda, council reports. Does any councilor have a report they'd like to give this evening? Councilor Johnson.
Thank you, Mayor. More of a awareness, as some of you may know, the Mesabi Mountain Iron Buell is at their first state championship since 1972. I took some notes. It's the 9-man class. Dan Zupich is his 100 career victory to get there. And the Rangers will be versus Spring Grove Saturday, December 10th at 10:03 at US Bank Stadium. We will be lighting the cupola yellow and red in honor and support of an Iron Range team being at a state championship. Go Rangers.
Thank you, Councilor Johnson. Councilor Beyondich.
Thank you. I was delivered this lovely note and asked to read it tonight. So here goes. Mr. Mayor and City Council members, I have worked our election for many years, both the school and the city. I would like you to know how great it is to have to work with and have a leader as Pam Levine. What an asset to our city, knowledgeable, gets things done, works well with all of us. I, who have been in the accounting field all my life, know that accuracy must accompany voting and paperwork. If a problem arrived, she is there to solve it, or will find out how. Again, what an asset to our city of Virginia. We should be very proud to have her. Sincerely, Donna Peralt.
Great.
Thank you.
Speech.
Very nice. Very nice.
Well, that's fantastic. What a great letter. Yeah. Okay. Any other council reports? Councilor Baraboo.
I just have a question, Pam, to ask you. I was looking at some stuff, and maybe I'm behind since I've been gone so much the last couple of weeks. December 15th, did I see 3 meetings on December 15th coming up for the city in emails that we've gotten over time? Because that's the Rams dinner, and some of them went till 5 o'clock, one of the meetings that I saw. Now, I may have missed some stuff and didn't see the dates right, but do you know offhand how many meetings are on that date?
Just that one, but it's at 3 o'clock, and that's the
Okay, so there's just
full
one then.
council. Yes.
Okay,
And the
We
one
gotta be-
before that, the
because
street and alley, is on December 7th,
okay, so it's the day before.
or 8th, I should say, whatever.
Okay, that's okay then. But I just wanted, because the Rams meeting starts at 5 o'clock. So we gotta be able to have time to get over, that's a social hour, and that's the best time of the whole meeting. Okay,
Based on the information there, we should be able to get there without any
yeah,
issues.
just so we don't keep our meetings going sometimes like they go. Okay, that's all I needed, thanks, Pam. I thought I saw another one, but I evidently read it wrong.
Okay, thank you. I have 2 things. Just a reminder, next Tuesday, which is an off Tuesday for meetings, but we do have scheduled a personnel and committee of the whole meeting. We have some items on the agenda to discuss. Excuse me, I was rechanged. No, it's Monday, excuse me. Monday, the 28th. Monday, the 28th, excuse me. We have a personnel committee of the whole meeting, just a reminder of that. That's at 9 a.m. And then I just want to express my really sincere appreciation, I think all of us, for the Festival of Trees. Wow. Wow, what an event. I mean, I think Councilor Johnson was at some of the events. I was there. I mean, I suppose everybody was there. Councilor Beyondich was helping out with the different things. And I mean, there are 4 different groups that got together and put this whole week together, you know, and I had the chance to do it firsthand, you know, being, you know, the libation provider. And I mean, the whole event from, the whole week was fantastic. I just want to reach out and say thanks for that. I mean, this is a great event in the city of Virginia, and I can't be more proud of everybody for what they've done, so thank you for that. Britt and staff, and please convey that to all the other groups too. The Laurentian Chamber, the Revive Virginia, the Virginia Foundation, which was huge. Yep, and so, and what was?
Essential Health Foundation.
You said the Essential Health Foundation as well, so thank you, everybody. What a great week of events, so I'm exhausted. Okay, so thank you, everybody, and I'm sure you all are too who worked on this project, so, and the fireworks, again, was just phenomenal. So thanks, everybody, for everything you've done. We hope it'll be a great event next year. I know it's going to be a lot of planning, so thanks again for everything. So anything else to come before the council today? Okay, hearing none, we will adjourn to our next city council meeting, which is Tuesday, December 13th, 2022 at 5:30 PM right here in the council chambers. Thank you, everybody. Happy Thanksgiving to all of you. Thank you, Pam. Enjoy your holiday season. We finally stand adjourned.
Mayor,
Okay. Right.
Mayor, were we going to do the Rams thing tonight, or are you going to wait until a special meeting? The Rams appointment, were we going to do that tonight? We can do it at the special meeting. We can do it Monday.
We'll do it on Monday's meeting.
Okay, that's fine.